Hi guys, today we are going to proofread our writing. At this point, you've written all your paragraphs and you're ready to go through the proofreading process. To do that, I've created a Google form that is right at the bottom. So when you click on the link, it's going to take you to this Google form. This Google form will have your name, your last name, and notice that in the instructions it says that if you answer no to any of these questions, you need to stop and go back to your writing and fix whatever is not done at this time to turn it into a yes. You can only submit this form when all the answers have become a yes. So you have to go through the process. You have to proofread and make sure that all of these things are there. They are to help you realize that you've done the work that you need to do. So as you go down the list, you will see that it will ask you, did you run a spell check? Well, when you run a spell check, you've written everything, you put it together, then you will go to tools, well, highlight whatever you want, then you will go to spelling and grammar, and you'll do a spelling grammar check. When you do that, usually it either tells you that it looks good or you need to change something. Okay, so once you do that, you've highlighted your entire essay and you click on tools and spelling and grammar, then you can say, yes, I have done that. Did you check for run-on sentences? That means I need to go back and make sure that my sentences are not too long. If they're extremely long and I've ran out of breath, then it probably needs a comma or a period. Now, the interesting part of this is doing it by taking a deep breath when you're reading at the beginning of each sentence and then reading it without taking a breath. So you go, in this, no, 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 no. If you start running out of breath, then that means that your sentence is too long. If you don't, then the sentence is just fine. But you have to call the air in, then start reading, and if you start running out of breath, you know that you have a run-on sentence, okay? Good strategy. It usually works for the most part. Then, do you have 4 paragraphs or more? The 4 plus means more paragraphs. So do you have an introduction, a conclusion, and 2 body paragraphs? So if you have at least 4, then you should be okay. Some of you may not have gotten to finish the last article and didn't get to take notes about it. So that's fine if you didn't, but you still have to have at least 2 articles that you need to write about. So to inform the reader. So you need to have at least 4 paragraphs. Again, if you don't have them, this is the time to stop, go back and make sure that you have them. It might be that you didn't separate your paragraphs and you just have one really long paragraph. Well, you need to make sure that you know where your introduction is, where your body paragraphs are, and where your conclusion is. So you might need to just press enter and break those down into 4 different paragraphs. Sometimes it's written already, you just have to separate them. Do you have an introduction and conclusion? We spent an entire day for writing an introduction and 1 day for a conclusion, so you need to make sure that you have both. Are all your letter I's when talking about yourself in uppercase mode? This is the most common mistake I've seen so far. So you need to make sure that all the I's are in uppercase. If they're not, and I automatically find just one, that's a 3. Your grade went down. So you need to make sure that you don't have any of them, okay? Do you have the words and then used more than 3 times each? If yes, something has to change. Now I'm going to tell you the only exception of and is when you're making a list of things. Okay, so you can say that I have lived in Virginia, California, and Kentucky. So those are okay because you're making a list and there has to be a final one. So that's okay. But if you're using "and" as a connector for all of your sentences, then that needs to go away. Here's an example. I went to the store and then I went to buy me a toy. And we bought the best toy I've ever seen. And then we went to eat and I ate a burger and the burger had cheese and the cheese was cheddar. Do you notice how I use and multiple times? There's no need for that. Most of the times you can get rid of that and just start a new sentence. Okay? I went to grab food, period. I had a burger with cheese instead of saying, and I had a burger and it had cheese. You just had, I had a burger, it had cheese. Okay? So make sure that you're not overusing that or then as the connector too. I see that a lot. Does each body paragraph focus on one um, of the articles about that we read about technology? So it has to be focused. It has to have a thought to it. Okay, you can't just write randomly about anything you want. It has to be about those articles informing the reader. And then you have to rate yourself after you've answered yes to all of these. Then you have to rate yourself and you give yourself an overall grade. Be honest, no one's going to see it except for me or Miss Johnson. So, what is it that you'll see? Has your grade a 1? Do you think that your writing deserves a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4? I would say that if you still think that you're a 3, 2, or 1, then maybe you need to go back if you still have time and make sure that you have everything that you need to get a 4. Again, look back into that rubric that we talked about a week and a half ago on Monday of last week. Um, Look at this rubric. What else do you need to get that 4? So that's proofreading today. Make sure that you go back to your reading as you do the Google form, to your writing as you do the Google form to make sure that all of your answers are yes.